I am Naya Lucas, and welcome to Movie 101. Movie 101 is created to empower movies itself. And of course, my partner in crime in movies, Mr. Bob Lemond.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? Or
I hope you're
today,
uh,
whenever.
wherever. I think you're chilly tonight. Don't you think?
I think, yes.
Very chilly. And last week we talked about one of your best comedy movie ever, I think.
Right, yeah. Planes, trains, and buses. Oh,
Automobiles
automobiles. Oh, that's right.
and buses.
And
What kind
buses.
of transportation?
And pickup trucks.
Pickup trucks, yes. And I hope sooner or later they included transportation like what do you call that in X, not X file, where you can move from other space to another galaxy.
Oh, like
Teleportation.
teleportation?
Yes. What do you think?
Yeah, planes, trains, and teleportation. That's going to be the sequel.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
No, it will be spaceships. Uh, what do you want to say? Spaceships. I'm trying to think of something that goes with that. Walking
Spaceship.
spaceships and teleportation.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Nice. Do you like the movie Dune
Yeah,
or the series? They have a new series, I
they have a
guess.
new series called Dune Prophecy. Yeah, I watched it the other night.
Do you like it?
I did. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't, I kind of went into it not thinking that it was going to be very good, but it turned out to be pretty good.
So if you compare to the movie itself from the
hmm
series, what's the big difference?
Um, well, the series is set 10,000 and some years in the past
Oh wow,
from the movie.
interesting.
So, yeah, but the series is basically, so the movie focuses on Paul Atreides, who's going to become like the first man to get these interesting powers.
Yes.
And the series is the prophecy is Paul Atreides, right? He's the prophecy.
Yes.
So it's about the lead up from all these years before he comes into existence, which apparently takes 10,000 years. That's going to be a long series.
Yes, a long series.
Even if they did, 100 years at a episode, they would take a long time to get to 10,000.
They think really the future. We want to make this series well more and more and more. Not
Yeah,
like Game of Thrones, right? Out
right. Well,
really
it
stop.
it has a Game of Thrones kind of vibe to it in the sense of a very, you know, uh, deep cast with a lot of different characters and high stakes, and also hierarchy of royalty of sorts.
So do you think this will be the next Game of Thrones?
I don't know. It's tough because I mean they've got House of Dragons, which is a spin-off of Game of Thrones. They're going to come out with something else, which I can't remember the name of it, but they're coming out with another Game of Thrones spin-off. I think it's its own thing because of the books.
Yeah,
The Dune. There's like how many Dune books? I can't even remember how many there are.
a lot.
So I think it's its own thing. It just television or streaming always likes to follow the trend, and the trends are to be like Game of Thrones because it kind of was different at the time, and kind of people, it was so well received that now everybody's like, well, we have to be like Game of Thrones.
Famous like, oh, the winter is coming.
That's right. Winter's coming, and that's happening right now for us, both of us. Winter's
Yes, and
coming.
until now, even Game of Thrones is already, done. We're still there. The winter is coming. Oh, that's Game of
hmm
Thrones. They get that trademark. So, Mr. Bam, what we gonna talk about today?
So I thought we'd switch it up and do, although this is kind of a comedy, but a more action movie, which is Deadpool and Wolverine, a Marvel
Yes.
movie, no less.
Marvel movies. So
from Marvel.
let's give them a big hand because they really entertain us, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I mean it's
Mm.
great. Now everybody, we just talked about Game of Thrones. Everybody's emulating. Well, everybody's emulating Marvel. They all want their own, universes of characters
Yes.
to play out, and so this is part of that. The interesting thing about this one probably is this is the first X Men. No, is it the first one?
Second.
Well, it's certainly the first R-rated X Men. No, it's not. Logan was the first R-rated X Men.
Yes.
Let me think now. This is the first teaming of Wolverine with somebody who's not an X Man. How's that?
Oh yes.
Or
Yes.
X person, whatever you want to call them.
Expression, yes.
Yeah. So, and it's interesting because uh, Hugh Jackman had pretty much said he wasn't going to do Wolverine anymore, and then he came back to do this. So
The price is right.
I think more than likely, I don't think that that's what he says in the press, but all I mean it certainly isn't. There was, even before this movie came to fruition, there was this weird social media rivalry between its two stars. So Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman kind of had this little bit of back and forth in social media that they were doing before this project even came to be. And they would tease each other and set each other up with kind of funny things, and that was going on for years.
Yes.
And so then it seems as if those, I don't know that it was planned, but it seems as if those two people actually seem to like each other, friends,
Yes.
outside the movie industry. But the hard thing about the movie industry is you never can really tell what is actual and what is
Real.
entertainment.
So do you think they have a chemistry?
Yeah, they obviously had some kind of chemistry in social media, and so it was fun. I mean, I remember. I obviously remember it, and I'm not like a huge fan of either one of them, to be honest with you. I do remember when Hugh Jackman got picked to be Wolverine, and I was like, "Who's Hugh Jackman?" Right? Everybody said
Yes.
that. They're like, "Who
Yes.
is
Yes.
this
Hugh
guy?"
Jackman, yes.
And he was this Australian guy, and it's like, well, Wolverine's Canadian. He's not
Yes.
Australian. How? What are they doing here? They should have went and got some Canadian to play it. But they picked him for the first X Men movie, and he did a pretty good job. But going into it was a hard, with all the comic book aficionados that are out there. It was a hard road for him because nobody wanted him to be Wolverine because number one, he was too tall because Wolverine
Yes.
is supposed to be a short, little, stocky guy,
Yes.
muscular. Obviously, he's like 6 foot or something, and he was Australian, which didn't fit the bill, right? So he's too tall and he's the wrong country. So, but he got a lot of flack. But after the movie was over, he did a really, really good job. So, and then obviously he's been one of the more, on the DC side of things, it's Superman and Batman, and on the Marvel side of things, really, the two characters that seem to be the most loved are Spider-Man and Wolverine.
Yes. Definitely. Totally
Yeah, I
agree.
mean, even over Iron Man, I would say Wolverine
Fit.
has more movies that he's been in and more fan chatter. So
Yes. So do you think if Deadpool will be partner with the other X-Men like Storm, do you think the success is the same?
the funny thing is, all the Deadpool movies have had fringe X-Men in them, right? So and
Yes.
it's been a joke, right? They've made it a joke where he couldn't go inside the Professor Xavier's school. He had to stay at the door. That was in the first movie, I think. And then he had connections with some of the lesser known X-Men, Colossus, and the teenager and so forth. And so this is the first time I think that he's been connected directly to kind of like an A-list X-Men. And so I
A-list.
don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, going forward, maybe, because the other thing they talked about, especially in this movie, was the fact that now Disney owns Fox, all the Fox uh, properties. And so now, because X-Men was part of Fox and they had a
Yes.
deal with Marvel way back when to do X-Men movies, and then they bought Fox, so now they can do that. So before they couldn't take the A-list because the Fox company, wouldn't allow it. Um, and so now it's all one. So who knows what'll happen? They can do whatever they want. Now, will they? I don't know. I mean, that's one of those. You have to go get a secret peek at Kevin Feige's list of things for Marvel to find that one out. But it opens up the whole possibility, and they actually joke about it quite a lot in the movie, how they got the rights to the Fox properties, and with that was the X-Men. So it's it, it's an interesting aspect of the movie is how much of the fourth wall that they break all the time to talk about things in the real world versus in the Marvel universe, which isn't
Yes.
real. So um, that's what makes all the Deadpool movies funny, is because they do talk about it. They don't ignore it, and and so and they make fun of themselves, and they make Ryan Reynolds makes fun of himself pretty bad, pretty aggressively in this Deadpool movie, because he has a Deadpool version which is essentially Ryan Reynolds without the mask and the mutation and everything, and he's pretty harsh on himself. And then that little dog that's in the poster is his dog, that then our main Deadpool wants to make his own, but I'll let you watch the movie to find out what happens there. But
Spoilers.
yeah, no spoilers, right? But that dog is so ugly, and so it's dog pool. He's so
Dog.
ugly and so cute at the same time. So
Mm. So, what do you think if Deadpool will be partnered with Green Lantern?
no, because that's crosses over DC. No, I think that what interests me about this movie is a couple of things, and without getting too many too deep into all of the plot lines and everything, I think this movie did a really good job of the timeline business. So now in Marvel movies now, we have all these different timelines, and we have what is called the TVA, the Time Variant Authority. And there was even, a whole season of Loki dealt with the TVA and all the business of the TVA. Well, it's in Deadpool. And the fun thing for me is that in Loki, it was a bit convoluted, to go back and forth and understand all the different things that were going on with changing the timelines. But in Deadpool, it's very straightforward, and it's not confusing, comparatively speaking, right? So if you think of Loki season 2, it's very confusing, but Deadpool pretty straightforward. And if you don't even want to think about it, you don't have to. It's just part of the story, but it's not such a part of the story that you have to understand all of it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it really it gives you the taste of it, and it's pretty easy to follow, and it doesn't drag it down. I think some in some respects the TVA stuff really kind of drug down um, other parts of the Marvel universe with having it out there so much. And it's a fun movie. I mean, it's hilarious. There's lots of funny things happening. It is a 12-year-old kid's dream. It's gross, it's funny, it's morbid, it's got a lot of weird Easter eggs involved in it. I mean, this is
Violence.
what yeah, this is what every kid wants to
Once,
see,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
It's got a lot of inside jokes and it's crude, and so it really does hit on all the marks, to make it a very rewatchable movie. I mean, you can't really even, as you're watching it, you can't really keep track of everything, and there's lots of stuff in there that when you go watch it again, you'll see new stuff.
Yes. Do you like the
But is it
soundtrack?
what's that?
Do you love the soundtrack?
Oh yeah, the soundtrack is good. I mean, they utilize a lot of different music, and some of it's for comedic effect, and some of it's not, but a lot of it has some comedy in it. And but I did like it. But I would say overall, I think that if you go back to the first Deadpool movie, which the first Deadpool movie was really different because at that point in time we didn't have such a foul mouthed superhero that
Yes.
was that was doing all these things on that level. It was a very adult superhero movie, in the Marvel verse. And now, we're gone through another one and then this one. And so it's not quite as novel as it used to be. Um, I can just give you an example. So my son was, the first one was what, 2016, I
Mm,
think.
yes.
So
I
I
think
we
so
went
too.
together, my son and I, when he was younger, and he loved it and everything, and it was a big thing. And then but this one, he's like, I go, you want to watch it with me? He said, no, that's okay. So he's grown out of it. You know what I mean? Apparently, I haven't grown out of it, but he grew out of it. And so yeah, so I think they need to, if they're going to do another one in some way, shape, or form, they need to tweak the formula a little bit because I mean, it's still really good and everything, but they're not maintaining their audience. They're starting to lose some of them. Obviously there's always new 12-year-olds, so they don't have to worry about that, but they're losing a part of their audience who was there for the first one, the
Yes.
first Deadpool. But I mean, but I would say this about every movie: it's too long, by probably about 20 minutes, 15 minutes. But it's not boring. So that's the upside,
It's not
is that it's
boring.
not a
Yes.
boring movie, but they really could have wrapped it up about 20 minutes earlier. And then it would have been a nice, tight, I think of, well, we talked about, you and I think, off the recording, about Die Hard, right?
Yes.
And Die Hard is a very tight movie. You watch that movie and it all happens, and you get to the end of it, and it's like it's very perfectly timed movie. And where this one a little bit long, you know what I mean? And you kind of feel it a little bit. You get toward the end, you're like, are they going to wrap this up? You know, it gets to be a little drawn out. I guess I would say one too many action sequences, but very good. All the highest level of filmmaking abilities are in this. I mean, there's no uh, area that I can think of when you're watching it. And you're like, boy, they really cheaped out on this. There's a lot of money on the screen, and it's very well done. But you whenever you have that movie that's kind of like really tight and just like hits all everything right, like I
Yes.
think Die Hard is. That's why they keep playing it every year. Then that's like the kind of in the perfect movie area. So timing wise and action wise and so forth. And Die Hard's a comedy movie too. I would
Yes.
say there was, they brought back some other heroes in this one, and I don't think this is spoilers, but Blade, Wesley
Yes.
Snipes' Blade, and Elektra was
Electra.
in there,
Yes.
right? Channing Tatum as Gambit,
Gambit. I think
and
this is spoilers.
and
Sorry
John
for that.
Favreau was in it, and Jennifer
Yes.
Gardner was Elektra. Chris Evans was Johnny Storm.
Oh, yes.
So I mean, they had a lot of
Amazing.
cameos, and they were very funny and very well used. Um, so the funny thing is, I would say that if you had to cut, you'd cut some of the Deadpool Wolverine stuff.
Yes. That's true. It's seldom that I saw Gambit. I think this is the
Yeah,
second time I saw Gambit.
yeah, he was great, and
Yes.
they, they should utilize some of that more. And it was fun too because a lot, these ensemble things I think are a lot of fun for people, especially if you're into the superheroes, just to see all the superheroes. There's nothing, to me, the Avengers movies and so forth are the more fun ones because it's got so many different, superheroes in it. And even with the comics, I always like to read the Avenger comics, or when they team up, more than just the individuals. So, well, this is a team up, but I mean even more. So,
Yes. So if you will be Sean Levy, what will be the modification that you're gonna do to Deadpool and Wolverine?
um, I think they took a little too long to get going on some of it.
Mm,
So speed up the front end. I mean, everybody knew going into it that eventually it's Deadpool and Wolverine, and we need to just jump into it, right? And then at
yes.
the oddly enough, the beginning and the end to me were the parts that needed work, where the middle was really quite perfect. And so the end, though, at the end when they're having the climactic type scenes, they drug them out a little bit. They could have just got it over with. You know what I mean?
Yes.
No, for whatever reason, Hollywood movies hate to end. They always come up with extra endings, or drag it out or whatever. Every once in a while, and I'll tell you, this is one of those things. And I don't know if can I tell a spoiler about a different movie, but it shouldn't be a spoiler. So
Yes.
there was John Wick. You remember John Wick
Yes.
with Keanu Reeves, and the whole movie is he's chasing down the guy that killed his dog, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then whenever you finally get to the point where he confronts him, and I can't remember his character name, and you get there, John Wick doesn't even let him finish his sentence, right? He
Mm,
takes him
yes.
out.
Yes.
We need more of that. Now, oddly enough, John Wick went on to do another scene where he fights the dad and everything because other stuff happens. But I thought that was inspired in the movie to not have him belabor, his the enemy. You know what I mean? Where they had that thing, and he's, I'm sorry, I'll give you some money, whatever. He's just boom, gone. I'm done with my work, right? And then
Yes.
it gets started back up by other people. But that scene, I thought for sure when I was watching the movie for the first time that they were going to drag it out, but they didn't. And I was like, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. They should have done this with the Deadpool and Wolverine. Just get to the end of it.
Get to the
We had
point
a great
first.
time. There's no sense, stringing it along anymore. Let's just get done.
Yes. And feature more Gambit at the end.
And feature more. They could have had Gambit come in, throw a few cards around, and end this thing and be done with it.
Yes.
But
Voila.
no, though they left him somewhere else. He was somewhere else in the movie, left behind.
They went
Yeah,
to
I don't
another
know. That's a good
multiverse.
question. So apparently you're a big Gambit fan. Did you watch the X-Men cartoon? And Gambit was
Oh,
in that,
yes. I was
the
complaining,
old
always
one, the
complaining.
90s one.
90s,
Yeah.
yes. I always complaining
Great,
because
great cartoon.
yes, because when they doing X-Men, always Gambit and Jubilee is not there. Do
Hmm.
you observe? It's
Yeah.
like
I don't
there's
know why
four.
Jubilee is a tough one, I think, for the live action movies
They said,
because
yeah.
I think all the effects, and then she flies around and stuff. So I
So why
think
they
that's
can
probably why
feature
that we haven't seen her.
Spider-Man? I know, Superman. Superman always flying every time, right?
But he's on the ground, as much as
Every
he's in
time.
the air. Jubilee kind of just everywhere. So, and
Yes.
then always with the fireworks,
Oh, yeah.
always with the light show. So
Probably the expensive to
yeah, that's my
do a live
guess.
action.
Or they do all these kind of marketing research things where maybe the Q score of Jubilee is not as high as the Q score of somebody
Storm.
else.
Oh yeah, Storm.
Yeah,
They
Storm
always
was
be
very prominent in the early X-Men movies.
definitely. So, Mr.
I'm
Bobby,
waiting for. They should be doing some more. I mean, they were
yeah,
always fairly popular. I remember. I watched all of them, even
X
when they
Men,
had
the
changed
cartoon.
all the people.
Hmm. Yes. If
When they
you
got
watch,
new people.
if you watch the anime and the movie itself or the live action,
Mhm.
which one do you prefer?
Well, I loved the animation when it was on originally because there wasn't anything else. But I think I prefer the movies now over the animation. And
Mm.
I think there's a reason for that because I tried to watch they did a new X-Men cartoon. I don't know if you saw that in the style of the one from the 90s,
No, I don't like
and
it.
I didn't like it either. And
Yeah,
so I think the problem is they kind of what do you want to say? They code them to
overdue.
ages. So they make the cartoons for younger kids, and then the movies are a little bit more broad so that they
Gen Z. Yeah.
reach every age. And so the cartoons now, it used to be they would do the cartoon and it seemed like the cartoon was a little bit less, a little bit more universal, all ages kind of thing, where now I think they kind of make them for younger kids.
Yes. So,
Yeah,
Mr.
and
Bob,
they're
before
they're there to sell toys. So
toys, yes, merchandise, of course.
merchandise, exactly.
So, Mr. Bob, before we go on, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my new podcast, people, called Law 101 with my new co-host, Mr. Andy Semachuk. He's uh, law by profession, and of course, award winning author. So please do tune in this coming Tuesday. We're live and we talk about immigration law. And of course, this coming law coming for Mr. Donald Trump. Don't you think it's interesting, Mr. Bob?
It's wild. It's
It's
wild, that's for
wild.
sure.
Yes, it's current events. So please tune in, people. Law 101 with Mr. Andy Remachuk. So, Mr. Bob, what else you can say about Deadpool and Wolverine?
Well, it's on Disney Plus now. It's on the streaming service, and I would have never thought that they would have such such a
Yeah.
dirt, a foul language, gross movie on Disney Plus, but it's there.
Violent too. Ah.
Violence, yes, so much violence, yes. Yeah, I'm like, really? They're putting it on Disney Plus? I mean, they own it, but uh, I I'm baffled. I mean, do they have? I don't even know. I have to look at my account. Do they have parental controls? So, are the kids going to wake up and just hit the Deadpool button and have him cursing at them all morning or sometime? I don't know.
I think some of the scene they're gonna corrupt it. I mean, they will make it blurred.
Well, I watched it on Disney Plus. Nothing was blurred.
Nothing blurred. Or parental guidance at the
Yep.
bottom.
Yeah. No. Well, but I don't. I mean, I haven't even looked to see if I could set anything because it's me and my wife, so it's not like we have to. Not like we have to restrict ourselves too much here. But Disney Plus, go figure. I'm baffled. I thought for sure they wouldn't do that, but here we are.
We want to earn more money.
I
Money,
guess
money, money, people, money. We want to
the money
produce.
won out over the
uh,
clean image or something. I guess.
yes, we want more to produce Deadpool and Wolverine Part 2. Don't you
Part
think it
two.
can be?
Maybe. Maybe they'll move on to the next. Maybe it'll be Deadpool and Gambit.
Oh, wow. How much
What
they
do you think
earn?
about that?
Oh,
Ah, mon
oh,
ami.
wow. I love it.
Ah.
Let's see if there are chemistry.
Oh, there was chemistry in the movie, so there's gonna be there'd be more chemistry. I think. I mean, it'd be interesting. Be interesting to see what. what happens. There was another cameo, and I can't. It's a spoiler. I would tell you there's other cameos in the movie that are interesting.
I think are we allowed now doing spoilers because it's been what 3 or 4 months
I don't
or
know. It's up to
five
you.
4 months. Let's do it, Mr. Bob.
You want me? So they because they were on all these timelines. There is a Henry Cavill Superman as Wolverine.
Yes.
Very short scene, but yeah, I was surprised. I didn't know that was coming. But I usually try not to read too much before I watch stuff. So I didn't want to. I don't want to know all the fun little cameos and everything. But yeah, he was, and he was Wolverine, which he's probably he's a good Wolverine. He made a really good Wolverine. So
Yes.
it was
Perfect
funny.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
Also, are you the person that you don't like spoilers when you want to watch a movie?
No, I don't. I don't mind if people, I just try not to read them or whatever. I just dodge them until I watch it. And then I love to be surprised. I mean, that's part of the fun for me is always to be surprised by what's happening. So I heard that Gambit and them were going to be in there just because it was everywhere. So couldn't avoid it.
Yes, definitely. So,
Yeah.
Mr. Bob, can you please invite our listeners to support your podcast or support Deadpool and Wolverine?
Sure. Yeah. Get your Disney Plus fired up. I'm watching a show called Interior Chinatown, which you should check out on
Uh huh.
Hulu, which is part of your package. But if you want to hear some other stuff from me, you can always go to Static Radio at Static Radio on the socials. But if you want to hear about movies, Movie
Movie
101.
101. Yes, people, let's support Mr. Bob Lement because we should support him more episodes to come. And please do support my Food 101 with Chef Alessandro, one of specialty chef in one of the five-star hotel in downtown Toronto. And of course, my Book 101 review on my fourth season. My feature author of the month of November, no other than Mr. Gerald Everett Jones, award-winning and best-selling author. So please do tune in and listen to all our podcasts. So, Mr. Bob, thank you for your time.
Thanks. We'll see you next time.
Modicam people, see you soon. Wow, interesting topic today, Mr. Bob.
Yeah, did you like it? I know